All right, here we go. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I have not streamed in a while and I basically never casted, so if any of my audio levels don't look right or something's wrong, just let me know in the chat. So what we're going to be going over today, and I probably won't get through every game, but we're going to be casting a little bit of Reaver versus the Fightin Aiurish, however you say that. I don't know how to say that, but I like their logo a lot. I think it's really creative. Well, game might be a bit loud. All right, let me just adjust that real fast before we actually get into anything. It'll be easier for me to just do it now. All right, turned it down a little bit. All right, well, so what do we got going on here today? We've got a couple of TVZs, a TVP, a ZVZ, and a PvP. Now, I'm a Terran player myself, so we'll definitely start with the games that have a Terran player in it and see how far we get. We've got about 2 hours or so we can probably get through at least 2 series or so, maybe 3, depending on how fast these games go. But yeah, we'll just jump right into it basically. Let me get the first game prepped. Let's see here. So we've got PersianZerg versus Kaykoose. Both players I'm not really familiar with myself, but Tier 1 is always interesting, I think, because you've kind of got a mix of people who generally have an idea of what they should be doing and some, really strong goals in mind. And sometimes there's some conflicting styles or some clashes that happen that I always find very interesting. You also see a lot of unique, kind of not necessarily the most optimized things, but they're very unique to that specific player, which is always fun. And that's kind of how I think I'm kind of one of those players where I don't necessarily play fully standard at times, so it can throw people off a little bit. Let me just get the first game loaded up here. Make sure I'm not spoiling anything on my screen. Alright, we're going to jump into PersianZerg versus Kaykoose. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Does not look like I'm spoiling anything, which is good. Alright. So, in the bottom right, we have PersianZerg. And in the bottom left, we have... What color is this? Pink? The pink Terran. I'm not a big fan of the pink color on Terran myself. I know, Terra really popularized that a lot for a lot of players. I think the construction worker orange is the best color myself. But, horizontal positions here. So we'll see how that plays out. I think these positions, in my opinion, kind of favored the Terran to start out. Just because the Zerg will be scouting with the Overlord path the wrong way, which is always really nice for Terran players. Otherwise it can be really annoying when they get that first Overlord right over your natural and can see everything that's happening. And you really can't do a whole lot about that. So, we'll see kind of what's going on here. Pretty standard for everything so far. I guess the interesting thing, once we get to the point where we see if Zerg is going to go for a pool first or a hatch first. Hi there, Angry Mom. I think text is on the screen, right? Yeah. And again, guys, let me know if any of the sound levels don't sound right. That way I can adjust them in between games. Mazer, Swami, hey guys, how's it going? My first time really casting in this kind of situation, so criticism is welcome for me. So we're going to get a hatch first, and he is going to be scouting with the drone. Let me actually turn these panels off, right? I can turn these off. Seems okay. Great. So he is going to be scouting with the drone, and we are just getting a kind of a standard 12 racks, it looked like, from Terran. Terran is scouting. You know, they will be scouting last, most likely. Actually, he sent out 2 SCVs, which is very interesting. Kind of hindering your economy quite a bit there at the start of the game when you're not doing something cheesy, but it's possible he knows something about PersianZerg that we do not. Just got pretty standard play overall from both players. Getting a little moving shot on that drone, which is always funny. It looks like he is going to go for a very confident, greedy expansion off of 1 Marine, which is probably why he sent the second SCV out, right? Make sure there's no funny business going on with Zerglings or anything like that. You can safely take that expansion. You know, he can see the larva, he can see the layer timing, so you can very comfortably take that. Now we do have 4 Lings in production, it looks like. Interesting that he hasn't moved this second Overlord over towards Terran's base, but we'll see how he decides to react from here. He is going for second racks and a gas. He's a little susceptible to Zergling counters since he doesn't have a depot down here, he doesn't have a bunker. It's a little bit dangerous to do this, in my opinion. Looks like he is putting down a bunker. But it's not quite going to be done in time. So, I mean, there are 4 Marines versus 4 Zerglings, so nothing really can get done here. But the threat of it is always a little scary for Terran. You know, he lost his scouting SCV. I should probably figure out what these buttons are. Mini-map. Production panel. Okay, don't need that. It's that one. Oops, don't need that. Huh, alright, well, whatever. I clearly don't know the key binding to bring back this bottom panel, which is funny. Hey, home smack. So, we do have, you know, pretty standard builds coming out from both players. Is it A? Oh, you're right. Oh, thank you, Swami. Teaches you what I know. So he's got an E-base started. He hasn't been able to scout this Hydra Den. Yeah, A is all. I see. Thank you. I will learn these things because I, you know, probably will try to cast a little bit here and there just to see how things go and help out with CPL a little bit. Wow, dude, that's messed up. You can't treat Angry Mom like that. Anyways, back to the game. So PersianZerg is going pretty all in it here, it looks like. You know, he doesn't have very many drones. He didn't build a spire. He got a layer, but he didn't build a spire. So just building a bunch of lurkers, maybe going for a lurker contain. I guess all-in's not really the right word, but, you know, sometimes we say things, so it is what it is. He's still only on 2 racks, so we don't have anything crazy coming out of Kaykoose. He is floating quite a lot of money, and is building turrets despite scanning and not seeing the spire at the main base. You know, he's in kind of a tough position here versus this lurker contain. Oh wow, that was a quick GG, I think. Kind of rough there from Kaykoose. I did not expect him to GG that quickly, so wow, that was interesting. Yeah, Zesky for sure. You know, let's get back to here and let's figure out how do we interact with this screen. So PersianZerg went up 1-0 versus Kaykoose so far. Kind of a quick GG though. I mean, you know, yeah, the lurker contain can be painful, but he's got a bunker, he's got some units, he's, you know, got plenty of money. I gotta say, I don't think he should leave the game that quickly. Hopefully his mental is okay and he can jump right back into the second game. I know sometimes I myself struggle at times where, you know, somebody will put 5 zealots into my natural, or my main, and I just say I want to get out of this game. So I know the feeling. So let me get the second game loaded up here, and let's see. Pause here. Get to the right screen. Alright, so let's jump into the second game between PersianZerg and Kaykoose, which is going to be on butter. Here we go. Help, I can't see anything. Says Malik. You're blind? Oh, that's too bad. So, you know, butter is one of those maps where you can't always select the colors you want to select, which is one of the reasons why I don't like to play it, because I can't select orange. So we have this sort of, I guess it's sort of a green, copper greenish color for Kaykoose, which is good, I like it. And sort of a standard brown Zerg, you know, for PersianZerg here. So that first game was very quick. So hopefully we can get a longer game and, you know, continue on with the series and see where this goes. I will say, you know, PersianZerg clearly had a plan, and he committed to it. He executed it very well. You know, he killed that scouting SCV, and even though the scouting SCV had seen the layer and everything, he dropped down that hydrogen, you know, got the lurker upgrade, and yeah, ZVT on butter can be painful at times, KYC, absolutely. You know, there's a lot of open space in the main, and generally I think Zergs don't really like this map, but I'm not a huge fan of this map myself. There's just a lot of positional things that can happen. Now before I get into that tangent, he is going for a faster barracks here. So not a super fast barracks, he's not 8-raxing, but he is going for a slightly faster barracks. You know, hopefully he can get something done with that. Zerg did go pool first, and looks like he's going to jump right into speed and probably just try to end this game with a couple of Zerglings. So he is building 6 Zerglings. He's building 8 Zerglings. And unfortunately, the Terran Scout is a little later than he would have liked it to be. I mean, it's a kind of a standard scout time. Now he sees these Zerglings. How does he react? Let's see what he does. He needs to immediately drop down a bunker. Oh no, this is not the right play here. This natural opening is just too large to be able to do this. You're never going to be able to hold this versus this many lings with 1 Marine. So this is probably going to be GG. He did save that first SCV, which, you know, is commendable. But, I mean, once that Marine gets surrounded, second Marine's not going to do anything. We are in a tough spot here. The ramp is just too wide to be able to do that with the SCVs, unfortunately. You really, in this position, have to throw down a bunker near your mineral line immediately. GG, well played. You know, he throws out the well played. It's very respectable by Kaykoose, but those are some quick games, I gotta say. So PersianZerg, you know, he takes the series 2-0 in very quick fashion. The well played probably is sarcasm because he throws out the 1, but I won't assume what he's, you know, I'm not the guy to assume what his intentions are with the well played. So PersianZerg goes up 2-0. That was a really quick series. I mean, I think game 1 was less than 10 minutes and game 2 was about 3 minutes. So, you know, but again, I mean, I gotta say, PersianZerg, he clearly has a plan. He knows what he wants to do. He executes it, and he just jumps after it, right? He goes for the kill. Yeah. So let me get the next series loaded up here. We're gonna get another TVZ, but the teams are flipped. So the Terran will be from Fightin Aiurish this time, and the Protoss will, or the Protoss. I looked at the icon for their logo and immediately assumed Protoss. Doglived, the Zerg player, will be from Fightin Aiurish. Let me load those up. So we have Striker versus Doglived on Polyvoid. Let me pause here and go back over to that screen. Here we go. Is this what mods, Artosis mods, do when they're on break? You know, sure. We'll just say yes. Now, Striker, I gotta say, he's going for that power red color. You know, that all Terrans know. You really assert dominance with this red color, and you know, I think it's... Wait a second here. Doglived is Protoss. I think my graphic is messed up. See, I was right. I'm gonna have to change that. Doglived is Protoss, not Zerg, like my graphic assumed. Now, Protoss week 4. So is Doglived a... he's a... See, that's why. Yeah, we'll do it live, Leth. Hey, Fridge, how's it going? They switch races between weeks. So he's a race picker. So, you know, you can never trust those race pickers, in my opinion. You know, I think we gotta live with the matchups we get. I don't think we should be able to choose the matchups that we play. But, you know, I'm not an admin. I'm just a guy in the chat. Moderator in the chat. So, now, this is very interesting that Striker is going for the wall off. This was very popular back in the day. To wall off your base like this versus Protoss. This is kind of was standard play for a very long time. A very long time ago. Nowadays, it's not very normal for people to do this. Malik, I will ban you if you post ASCII in my chat during CPL. I'm just telling you. I'm just warning you. Chat is on the screen. Okay? So, simmer down. But, you know, you really don't see Terran players do this anymore. With the exception of course, the walling Terran himself, Nyoka. But we do have pretty standard play, you know, builds coming out of both players with the exception of the wall. Yeah, thank you, Fridge. Thank you. Please put it away. We are going to have, surprisingly, the Terran is going to scout Doglived first, so that's always an interesting thing. You know, I'm one of those Terran players that if I don't have a probe in my base before my factory's out, I'm kind of panicking, like what is happening myself. So, you know, it's always interesting to see how each player reacts differently to this. So he's got a Zealot coming out. He does not have range started yet. But SCV is going to get the full scout. Will confirm that range has started. And that, you know, really we're sort of just looking at natural standard openings here. You know, I think the wall is really helpful for newer players. Not that Striker is new because he is tier 1, but it just gives you a certain amount of security at times versus some of these builds that Protoss will do and throw at you, especially in a series. So Protoss is mining a lot of extra gas, but he still is able to get down his Nexus. I do like that this SCV is coming back in and kind of confirming what's happening with the build. SCV does scout the expansion and that the range is still going. There's nothing kind of weird going on. The Dragoon is, for some reason, at the 3rd base. And it does look like Terran is setting up for just some sort of siege expand. Which, you know, I gotta say, he must be watching Nyoka, because not a lot of Terran players go for this sort of wall off into Siege Expand style, except for Nyoka. The real Dan himself, as they say. So this is pretty interesting, though. I mean, you know, it does look like we are missing some SCVs here and there, and there's a little bit of a brutal supply block going on for Striker. He should be a little concerned as well, because there is only one goon out on the map that can kind of set some alarm bells going off for different players. You know, for myself, it always does. If I don't have 2 or 3 goons, you know, barraging my bunker at all times, then something fishy could be going on. So we have a robo coming out, and it looks like he is just going to go, you know, into obs. So playing a very conservative style here, not trying to do anything too abusive. You know, as I like to call it, this is the Protoss real cheese. Okay, you expect Protoss players to gate outside your main, or, you know, 12 Nexus into two base carrier. No, this Protoss player is just going to go 1 gate into obs. The ultra conservative standard play. Which is scary in its own right. You know, there's a certain amount of what are they doing when this happens. So we do have 2 factories coming up. Looks like he is researching speed and his +1. So very standard long-term play from both players here. We have the 3rd expansion coming up for Doglived, and he's starting that pylon wall, dropping a couple of extra gates. So we are going up to 5 gate with that obs. So very respectable play from both players. Nothing too out of the ordinary. You know, they just want to go into long macro games, it looks like, which is great. Pardon me, I got something in my throat. So this is interesting. You know, you like to see these sort of standard plays come out from tier 1 players and see how long they can keep it going, because especially for Doglived, if he is normally a Zerg player and has decided to play Protoss this week, which, you know, I know a lot of Zerg players really struggle with TVZ, so playing Protoss versus Terran makes a lot of sense. There's a little bit more forgiveness in that matchup as opposed to Zerg versus Terran at times, so understandable. We have a small probe transfer here, nothing too much, but you know, healthy number of probes to send over. Oh, looks like he's going about 7 probes, which is good. He's got his pylon wall. You know, he is susceptible to the vulture run-bys right now. His units are kind of out in the middle of nowhere. You know, these goons are good, but having these units more in this kind of space probably would help him a lot if there were vultures to run by at all. Doglived, yeah, his units are a little bit out of position. Striker does have speed, and could definitely get a little bit of damage done at that 3rd base if he were to run by, but for the moment, looks like he's just macroing up. You know, he is really just setting up for a long game. He's gotten his 2nd armory started. He needs to get a starport, though, if he's going to go into that 2nd armory. We got some vultures running by those goons, like I had mentioned before. Let's see. Oh, he does have a goon now set up at the 3rd to wall off, which is great. Really spreading those vultures out all over the map to get a lot of map control, a lot of map vision, which is great. Very impressed with these 2. Getting some map control, getting some vision, sending the obs out. very respectable. Really scouting every possible base location, confirming that there is a third up here. Doglived, you know, he could probably use a couple of more gates. Oh, he is now. He's macroing well. He is going into a citadel and will likely tech from there. Looks like he's got +1 started. Terran, you know, always a struggle to take your third expansion. Setting up a turret ring. You know, he's playing very tentatively, considering that Protoss only has 2 goons right here. Yeah, and you know, Toss has so much map control, he should really kind of pump into that 4th expansion. But looks like he is trying to set up some sort of light contain so that we can delay the Terran 3rd base. Which, by the way, does this bother people to move this around like this? I don't know what the right way to do it is. He's just sitting there in an arc, as Artosis would say. He's going to try to jump on this, and that is a lot of goons. You know, he's going to be able to pick off a lot of these tanks. Honestly, this is really a tough position for Striker. Yeah, I don't know how well you can recover from this. Taking that high ground, you really had to get there a lot sooner. Push up that ramp a lot quicker if he's going to try to... You can zoom out a bit. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Yeah, I try not to move the screen too much, but... I don't know. I'm not an ops player, so... Yeah. Got the 3rd CC too. This is really a dire position for our Terran hero, Striker. You know, Toss can see everything that's going on. He's got an obs right over the army, which he will likely lose to this turret as soon as it finishes, but still, our Terran player is in a tough spot. He lost most of his tanks. He lost his expansion, and now he's, you know, he's set up on 6 factories with no expansion. He's going up to, wow, he's going up to 8 factories, it looks like. This is going to be a very all-in build from here. Also, he got the 2nd armory, but he never built the starport. So a little bit of a, you know, a little bit of confusion going on with the Terran builds. Looked like he wanted to play that upgrade macro style, which is so strong if you can get up to that 3rd base with gas. Taking this mineral expansion is really nice, just for the map control that it gives you, but you know, you do need that gas eventually. So you do need a gas base in order to really be strong. Now he is going to try to build a CC here on location. Meanwhile, Protoss has taken his half of the map. I've been focusing a lot on the Terran here. Let's take a look at what Protoss is doing. He's teching up. He's going up to a Stargate. He's got a healthy number of gates. He's expanding to his 4th and 5th location. He's got a probe over here, and he's clearing out some mines. You know, there is a cute vulture over here that will get 1 or 2 kills, but nothing really getting done with those 2. Oh, these 2 vultures might get a little bit done. Let's see, 1 probe, 2 probes, 3 probes, 4, 5, 6. Wow. 7 probes. Now, Protoss is becoming a little impatient here. He thinks he's in a winnable position, but this is going to be a tough push. There's a lot of tanks here. You know, Terran has the high ground. And this is how you can get back in the game as Terran. Is have a Protoss get a little too aggressive, push in, and drop the blue goo. You know, they're dropping that Protoss blood everywhere. That was very painful for our Protoss player. Terran, I don't think, lost a single tank right there. Basically traded a whole army for some vultures and a couple of Goliaths. So that is painful. It looks like Protoss has put himself back on the back foot here. Terran has secured his third. He's up to 8 factories, and he's going to have a really strong push going on. He does have a larger supply, and this is very strong. I don't know if Protoss is going to be able to hold on. Terran did not lose a single tank in that last defensive position he was in, and he should absolutely be able to get up here and knock down this 4th expansion. Protoss will be okay though, because they still have the top right location. He's trying to buy some time. He's building arbiters. Looks like he's got 2 Stargate arbiters started. Oh, what happened? I've got to rewind it, guys. I apologize, but I must have missed something. Now, I know CPL casts, they don't normally rewind, but I don't know what just happened, so I have to at least rewind it just to try to understand. Looked like we had a very early GG come out from our Protoss player. Very winnable from both sides. Now, I mean, Protoss was definitely on the back foot because they had not macroed efficiently and had lost a healthy number of units in that aggressive push at the 3rd Terran location. But I mean, let's take a look. I guess he just GG's because he's losing this base. Now, don't know how much I agree with that. I mean, the supply is painful, but the economy was in a tough spot too. I'm not a Protoss player, so I can't get in the head of him. But I mean, Terran was definitely in a very strong position there. So, well, GG. You know, that puts us up. Looks like Striker's 1 up over Doglived here. Let me get the second game loaded up. Definitely a tough position for the Protoss there, seeing as his supply was so much lower. But I don't know if it was GG worthy. I think, you know, Brood War at times can be a very swingy thing, right? And just like Protoss was in an extremely advantageous position early on, you know, one mistake essentially put him on the back foot. So I think you got to play on a little bit further than that. Just my opinion, but that's okay. I know how it goes. So let's jump back into the second game. Now, Doglived is Protoss, so I apologize that I have you set up as Zerg, but I swear I checked it, so that's okay. Yeah, I'm going to change screens. Thank you. So, second game is on Butter. We have Striker choosing the red again in the top right. And Doglived in the very unattractive brown-orange color. Striker is inflating that APM. Absolutely. You know, he's getting up to that 800 APM, so that he had 8 gates, I believe, at that last game. So, you know, he was in a tough spot. Hopefully he can recover, get his mind state, you know, in the right position, and go on to a longer game. They both had set up for long macro games, I gotta say. You know, Striker, he probably needs to be able to scout a little bit better at that third location to know if he can really take advantage of the Protoss units not being there or not. Which, it's a tough thing, you know, you play such a variety of things on ladder. It's really difficult at times to know if you're gonna go over that high ground and there's going to be 20 goons, or there's going to be, you know, 1. So got a very fast scout from our toss player and a very fast gate. I mean, it's a little fast. It's a little fast gate. He's definitely going to steal the gas, which can be painful. Yeah, it is an interesting Rax position. You know, it's okay. It's not too bad. You can still micro marines pretty effectively in this position. 0 honor toss. Now he is pulling 2 SCVs to attack the gas right away. 3 SCVs now, so he really wants to take his own gas. Now, this is a little bit of a dangerous thing at times. If you... Oh, he's going for a second Rax. I didn't even notice this. I'm not even paying attention, clearly. So, Terran coming in with an interesting build here. He's going to kill that gas pretty quickly because of those Marines, or those SCVs. He scouts. He sees only a gateway with 1 Zealot coming out. It's in the core. Now, this second Rax position, very interesting. Now, this is what I was talking about. This is what I was going to say before I noticed that second gas. If you do not kill the probe, your gas is going to get stolen again. This happens a lot. The second gas steal. Now, the one thing I'll say about this is Terran doesn't care that much in this position. It sucks. It's not ideal. But he's going to have plenty of Marines to knock it down very fast. He's going to bundle up Marines over here. And Protoss is going to be in a really tough spot because he's not building any units. I think this is a really interesting play. Now, as long as he doesn't lose any of these Marines versus the Zealot, Protoss is dead. You know, this is going to be a very tough hold from our Protoss player. He's got 1 goon coming out, and if Terran just pulls the boys, he's got 5 Marines here, he's got 3 over here. By the time he pulls and goes, he's going to have 10 to 12 Marines. The question is, does he pull the boys? He hasn't lost any Marines, he didn't take any damage, and he sees everything that's going on. Second gateway coming up, but there's only 1 goon and 1 Zealot. If he pulls the boys right now, and he's doing it, look at this. I gotta say, Striker really knowing when to go for the kill. It looks like he's pulling pretty much all of the boys. He's got 1 SCV on gas, which, I mean, honestly, what's even the point? Now, how does Doglived react to this? Because this is a lot of units. Luckily, he does not have an expansion here. He did go 2 gate. Oh, again, quick GG. But, I mean, to be honest, that was going to be a very tough position for Doglived. I gotta say. Not even fighting, though. But, you know, that was a very interesting decision making from Striker. I gotta give him a lot of credit for that. Let me get back over to the correct screen here, and Striker goes up 2-0 over Doglived. Right, like this. So Crimea Reaver, you know, setting themselves up in a good position here. They 2 series, 2-0, and very quick games in both series. I mean, the first Doglived versus Striker game was set up very, you know, for kind of a long game. There was a little bit of a struggle with decision making, but I gotta say, I mean, that decision making in game 2 by Striker to build that rack, set out, you know, send that SCV out, scout, make it look like you're trying to take your gas really early. I mean, he kind of mind gamed him a little bit. I'm really impressed. with Striker's decision making there. I think that was very interesting. Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's jump into blobfish versus Poyo. Let me get those games loaded up here. Hopefully I have the right races. I know Poyo is also a race picker as well. So it does look like Poyo is Terran and blobfish is Protoss. So, all right. Let me pause that and get over to the correct screen again. Again, guys, this is my first time ever really casting in this type of way. So hopefully, hopefully it's entertaining, and you know, I always like seeing the CPL games myself. So, you know, I think sometimes people really enjoy watching their games get cast. So I figured I would spend a little bit of time. I've got a little bit of time here and there. I can maybe cast a couple series. So, all right. Well, we got Poyo, who is a race picker. And you know, I know that he's a race picker. I played him actually one time in a series, so I'm familiar a little bit with him. Blobfish, I'm not familiar with. So we got blobfish in the bottom left as the red Protoss, taking the power color from the Terran. I like that. That's, you know, asserting your alpha position. And you've got pink Terran again, sort of the terror. Known terror color. Actually, his terror's color is a little more pink, isn't it? This is more of like a peach color. I don't really know. Looks like there was a short pause early in the game. Yeah, he uses magenta, right? This is more of like a peach. Either way, it's always great to see people, you know, join CPL and get into the scene a little bit, be you know, be part of the community. It's always great to see. So, very standard from both players. We've got standard racks, it looks like. He is going for a quick gas, so slightly quicker gas, which can kind of set you back a little bit economically, depending on what the Protoss player is doing. But it does allow for you to get a very quick vulture out if you cut Marines and one SCV. So looks like they're both going to get the last scout. Kind of a slower scout coming out of Protoss compared to, you know, what you would normally see, which is fine. I mean, it doesn't really matter ultimately that much. Now this is the spot where it's a little tough to build your factory if you don't cut SCVs or Marines in this position, because he did go for that 11 gas. So you end up with a little bit more gas, and he's still mining gas, so I am curious, does he go into a 2-fact from here? You know, he's only got 2 on gas, but it, you know, it looks like he's setting himself up to stop the probe and potentially drop that second factory. So we've got speed coming out from blobfish and a goon. One painful thing here for Poyo is he is very likely not going to be able to scout that speed. Or that range, I should say. I mean, maybe he is not blocking his ramp with that Dragoon, which is a little bit unfortunate for him. He's setting up the bunker, and he did not actually drop that second factory yet. So, curious to see what he does with all this extra gas he has. Could just be an inefficient build, but we do not know. He does actually get the SCV in the base, and he is going to be able to scout and see that that range has started. So, was able to confirm the natural expansion as well. Now has he come over here and seen this? This is the question. I don't think, yeah, he still hasn't, I don't believe he's come over here and actually seen the core. Very quick robo coming out. I mean, it's not very quick, but it's a little bit quick. And again, he still has so much gas. This is a really painful thing as Terran. You're just never going to have enough minerals to actually afford the units and upgrades you need to be able to defend yourself. So, could potentially be dropship play with our 2 gates and quick robo. Let's see what he decides to do. Natural expansion is coming up. Now, surprisingly, Terran has taken the lead in the worker count, considering he did go for 11 gas. That is a lot of probes to transfer, I gotta say. Wow, that is... I mean, maybe not. I don't know. It seems like a lot to me. I could be wrong, though. Meanwhile, our Terran player is only transferring 6 or 7 SCVs, which is pretty normal for this timing on Command Center. You know, 6 to 7 is kind of what I would expect people to do. He does kill that scouting SCV, and he did end up going just for the ops, though. Going for just a very conservative style here, blobfish. And siege expand here for our Terran player. So again, both players are going for very conservative builds. Yeah, so Frost, typically Terran would, if they're going for a factory expand like this, take all 3 or 2 SCVs off of the gas in order to get enough minerals to both afford a quick command center and have enough minerals to build things like tanks and everything else you need. So you're not really going to be able to spend that much gas unless you're quickly teching up or going for a 2-fact type build. So Protoss is setting up their 3rd expansion here. They have plenty of map control and an OBS. They're able to see and scout everything that's going on from Terran, which is great. They're going to come in here, feel very comfortable. There's only 2 factories. There's an armory. Nothing too crazy coming out of the Terran player, so we're not going to see a lot of aggression early. Looks like we're going to set ourselves up for a decently long macro game here from both players. So now he does have a quick Citadel started, so curious to see what he does with this. He's only got 2 gateways and a Citadel. Where does he go from this? This will be interesting to see. Poyo is still holding that advantage in the worker count, able to kill 2 Dragoons at his natural. I'm curious to see how quickly he tries to push out here and take a 3rd base. It's always a very difficult thing, is to kind of gauge and manage how many units Protoss has outside your base. Well, the observer is really there just to be able to see what Terran is doing, and that allows you to go into something like a quick arbiter. Or, you know, whatever you really want to do. You're able to tech up very quickly off of very limited units. Terran is doing a good job here of positioning his units and laying mines, you know, in the path that he would be attacked. This is always a tricky high ground to take if you do not have a decent, healthy number of tanks. So he's got his +1 going. He's got his starport timing is really good for second armory. Going up to 4 factories, and he's got his 3rd expansion started. Gonna go up to 5 factories, but imagine he's gonna drop a couple more factories, secure this 3rd, and feel like he's in a very comfortable, healthy macro position. Meanwhile, Protoss is going up to Arbs. Now this is a very fast Arbiter, but I gotta say, he does not have very many units behind it. He is up to 6 gateways now, so looks like he's probably gonna set himself up for a healthy recall. Sorry about flipping the screen there like that. But let's see. I mean, he needs to be able to pump out a decent number of units if he wants this recall to really be effective. Yeah, the probe count is definitely a bit low for 3 bases at this late in the game. But, you know, I don't see Terran, you know, walking across the map anytime soon. So, looks like he is posturing to just secure this 3rd base and continue his path of upgrades. His 2nd armory is a tad slow, and he hasn't started his science facility yet. So, if he was going for a 2-1 timing, it's going to be a bit delayed. I should zoom out a little again, huh? Now, these vultures are coming across the map. They're absolutely going to get a decent amount of damage done here. That probe count was already a little low, so being able to come in here and really get rid of all the probes at this 3rd expansion is going to set him up for a very comfortable position. He even saves some of the vultures, which is really nice. Meanwhile, Protoss is trying to jump in here, but there are 12 tanks here. And there's just no way you're going to be able to dive in. Oh, that was a good mine that he was able to get at least one of the tanks, but he did not lose, you know, essentially a single tank with the exception of his own mine blowing him 1 tank up. So Terran's going to feel very happy about that. You know, his macro has slipped a little bit. He needs to drop an additional factory and start his +2 attack weapons. But I've seen additional gateways being dropped here, and what I'm curious about is where is that Arbiter at? Alright, plenty of energy getting built up there. He just does not necessarily have enough units to really recall. This small force is not going to get a whole lot done if he were to recall this, so Terran is in a healthy position here. He's got plenty of vision on what would be the 4th and 5th locations for Protoss, and he's got his upgrades started. He still has not started his +2 attack, but you know, he's in a good position. He's got the science facility out, building the science vessel. I'm just curious what Blobfish's plan is here. He's still low on probes. Looks like he's going to try to just run in here, but there is just no way you're going to break this position with this small force. So looks like some rough decision making here for our red Protoss. You know, you can always get a couple of extra units because the Terran player doesn't scan quick enough, but I mean, he has a army of tanks over here versus, you know, he's got twice as many tanks as he has Dragoons. So this is going to be a very tough position for Protoss to try to push in here. And you know, Poyo is not spending his money that efficiently, but is still in a commanding position. He's got a couple of Goliaths here, so he should really be taking out this observer, but you know, again, I'm curious to understand why Blobfish wants to force into this position so heavily. Even if he does stasis these 4 tanks, there's a whole, you know, additional... Yeah, there's like 13 or 14 additional tanks here. So, looks like he's going to lose this Arbiter as well. Terran is in a commanding position from here. He's at 60 workers. This position is never going to be broken from a small Protoss army. And hopefully they play it out a bit. But, no, doesn't look like it. I mean, I can understand that. You know, he knew he was behind in workers. He knew he hadn't expanded efficiently. They were both on 3 bases for such a long time. Terran was clearly just going to sit, macro, max out with 2-1, and then push across the map. So, great play from Poyo, though. You know, he really just kind of did what he wanted to do. So you can't fault him for that. Now, that puts the Fighting Irish on the board. So they have 1 game now versus blobfish. Let me get the next game loaded up here. But very respectable play from Poyo. You know, he's not... he's not a Terran player for a main, I don't believe. I know he's a race picker. So, very respectable macro style play out of him. I'm not a fan of the color choosing he picks, but, you know, preferences, right? I can understand. And plus, blobfish comes in again, stealing that red color from all the Terran players out there, right? Everybody knows Terran players are red and Protoss players are blue. That's just the way that it's always been. But, you know, blobfish is going to come in here in the bottom left or bottom right position and say, you know what, red's my favorite color. And that's respectable. You gotta assert, you know, it's part of the mind games you can play. Alright, well, we have Poyo in the top right position and blobfish in the bottom right. Let's see what they decide to do. Butter is kind of a rough map for Terran players versus Protoss, because if they want to steal your gas, they are going to steal your gas. You know, you would have to really cut workers or cut something in order to stop it. Also, a lot of Protoss players, at least that I play against, will build gateways outside of your base. I will say, though, if the game goes longer like the last game, I do think Butter is a very strong map for Terran past 10 minutes. You know, Recall is pretty strong, but again, 2-player maps, if you can park yourself outside of the Protoss main and, you know, get to the point where you're starting to shell gateways or something like that, because Protoss can only build gateways in their main, you know, it gives you a very simple path to victory versus some of the other maps in the map pool. So, now again, blobfish is going for a very slow scout. He's not stealing the gas, so he's playing that honorable style. He has decided not to abuse his, you know, his God-given right of Protoss gas steal on 2-player maps, so you can respect that. Let's see what he decides to do. Now, blobfish is spamming that APM up real high. Now, a lot of CPL players will see this and say, hey, this person is smurfing because they're an F-rank player, a D-rank player with 300 APM. Maybe they just spam a lot at the beginning of the game. I personally spam a lot, so my APM is a bit inflated as well. So, I've had people claim I was smurfing at the end of a game. And I'm not. I just, you know, sometimes there are smurfs, sometimes there's not. Interesting decision to pull 2 probes to try to fight off that 1 SCV. We do have a standard build, though, coming out of Protoss, or coming out of Terran. But again, he does have a lot of gas. He does only have one SCV on gas this time. And Protoss is going for a quick expansion off of just one goon. Decided not to build the Zealot. Has speed, or I keep saying speed, I don't know why. Has range started. Terran is going for that expansion style. He's going to put down that bunker, get prepared to build his command center. He does mine a lot of gas, though, at the start of each game. 23 Nexus from Toss. So, he is fighting off that one goon with his 4 Marines. Decides to pull back, which is a very wise decision. Now, I think Blobfish started the game out really well last game, but started to fall off towards, you know, mid game, basically, and kind of had rough decision making. So I'm curious to see what he decides to go for this game. It looks like he is just going for 2 gateways again, off of range. Doesn't let me grab this building, yeah, with the robo. So we'll see if he decides to go for obs again. Poyo is sneaking out an SCV to scout, which is, you know, when you're able to do that is so helpful, and is just going for siege expand again, essentially. Now, this was the moment last game, right when this command center started, that Poyo's worker production outmatched Blobfish's. So let's see if that happens again. He should be dropping another factory at some point here. But he has decided to go for the eBay, which makes sense. He wasn't able to scout as effectively as he would like to. We have the 2 gate robo coming out. Hasn't decided to drop an obs or anything yet. Does scout 4 dragoons. But Blobfish, again, he's staying in his base. He's not pressuring or containing the Terran, aside from this 1 dragoon that keeps getting pushed back from these Marines over and over again. You know, there's just not a lot of vision coming out of our Protoss player. He has decided to go for that support bay. So we will see Reavers started here. This is a really, really good Reaver map, but the turrets have already been started. It's got 1 turret over here. Now, ideally, you're going to want to have a turret over here and a turret over here, and probably 1 over here as well. So let's see if he decides to do that or not. He has 2 turrets at his natural, so his natural's in a really good position. Protoss is going for that 3rd expansion. But let's just see if he's able to get anything done with this Reaver. You know, Poyo has sent out 3 or 4 SCVs to scout between the 2 games, and has been able to make it at least all the way to the natural each time. So he is committed to scouting. Now, if I were to fight Blobfish, I would assume he was going to go Reaver, considering he's the Protoss player on the team Crimea Reaver. But looks like Poyo is going up to 5 factory. This is a very aggressive build. Oh no, he is not microing that shuttle at all. He gets 2 workers, and a tank. I mean, he's getting a lot done with this, but you know, ultimately, if he only kills 3 or 4 workers in 1 tank, it's not as much as you would like it to be. I mean, he's probably killed 6 workers there. So, yeah, it's good. It's good. I mean, he killed 6 workers. Not as good as you'd like it to be. You should really be getting more done with that. But it's okay. You know, half of the damage is just getting in the Terran's face and making him, you know, mess up what he was trying to do. Now, if Terran had actually built 1 additional turret over here, somewhere, like right here, let's say, he probably wouldn't have taken any damage. Now, unlike last game, Poyo is falling behind in workers because of that, but he's not behind by that much, considering he's thrown away, you know, 3 or 4 SCVs in scouting and lost about 7 SCVs from that Reaver. So he's not behind as much as you would think. The other thing is he did get his 5 factories scouted. So if he were trying to go for some sort of timing push, which is the assumption off of 5 factories, he's going to have a lot harder time. There's also a Citadel done, and plenty of gates here. A very healthy number of gates to push back. These are all tier 1 players. I don't know any of their ranks, though. I couldn't say. Does have his eBay scouting, and again, I mean, I would still say he should build an additional turret over here. Yeah, I believe you're right. He is just playing race picking essentially for this match, but I don't know the exact details. So we have a weapon started here for blobfish. You know, if he could just hunker down and macro very efficiently, I think he'd be in a very strong position from here. But I think Poyo is also just very comfortable to just sit in his base and macro. He really needs to add an additional machine shop. Oh, which he did right there. Nice job. He read my mind in the future. Just because he has so much gas, and he's never going to be able to produce enough tanks if he's just going to keep 1 machine shop. So he is scanning. He's scanning the natural and the main. So he's able to see that the archives is done, at least at the bare minimum. It looks like blobfish is going to try to push in here again. Hopefully he just tries to contain Terran instead of pushing into him. Because really Poyo showed very effectively last game that he is very comfortable just sitting. Oh no. See, this is a tough position. You lose your Reaver and your shuttle for basically nothing, and all you have left over are goons. Now, if Poyo were to unsiege these back tanks and push out, he could absolutely start to move across the map, or just set up for his 3rd expansion. He doesn't have an additional CC started yet. I don't know if he's going to try to make it on location, but he is going up to 6 factories, and it looks like +1 is just now about to be finished. So, meanwhile, Toss does look like he's going up to some sort of zealot speed timing. Blobfish has a ton of money, but you know, if he's able to get a healthy number of lots out and get on top of this Terran army, this mine positioning is going to be very rough. Now, the interesting thing about this too is both these players are race pickers. So I wonder how they decided who was going to play what race. You know, blobfish I think normally mains Zerg, and I believe that Poyo also mains Zerg. So it's kind of an off race versus off race situation here. that is painful for blobfish. You know, he's really, really in a painful position. This is a lot of zealots. Legs is about to be done, but you can't win versus a Terran army with only zealots and some High Templar. I mean, if he gets massive storms, maybe, but or I guess incredible mind drags. But this is going to be very tough for Protoss to hold. First High Templar, second High Templar go down. Neither one was able to cast a single storm, and GG out of blobfish. Now, blobfish, he sets himself up very well, in both games, but he's just not able to spend his money. So I think, if he could just take some notes from like FridgeRaider, who's the honorable macro Protoss that I play against the most, he would set himself up for really, really strong potential for growth going forward. So, all right, well that puts us at 2-0 for Poyo. Yeah, so 3-2-0 series here, but at least Fightin Aiurish get on the board with that carry from Terran Poyo play. Yeah, it didn't even have to siege, you're right. It was interesting. So yeah. Alright, well it looks like the next series is martingb versus Launch. ZVZ, I believe. Let's double check that and make sure that the graphic is correct. No, it's not. So Launch, it looks like it's playing Terran. So I clearly didn't set up this graphic right. Shows you what I know. So let me see, can I just change it if I do this? Let's just change it, let's see. It doesn't. Well, I apologize, but Launch is playing Terran. So we'll just jump into the games and see how they go. So we have Launch versus Genesis 7 or martingb is what my graphic says. Is that the same person? Yeah, it looks like it is. Alright, well let's jump into it. So, we have Launch as our green Terran player. Green is a strong color. I like the color green a lot. I think it looks pretty healthy. On Terran, not too bad. Spawning in the top right location. And we have orange Zerg. Orange is not a bad color for Zerg. Now, I like orange for Terran because it's the construction worker color. So it doesn't look too bad at all. Vertical positions here. So mutas can be pretty healthy in these positions. Well, I mean, it's okay, I guess. At least you're, it's fast to the main, but it takes a long time to get back over to the natural. Oh no, this is Polypoid, huh? I'm thinking of the wrong map. So yeah, this is a good position for Zerg. Not too bad. So we'll see what they decide to do. We've had a couple interesting series. I think kind of the theme, in my opinion, on each series has been that the winner has had a very strong game plan and has had really good decision making in order to secure that victory. So sort of the players who have fallen behind a little bit, it just seems like they had a plan, they set themselves up well, and then some of their decision making maybe faltered, which, you know, that's the Brood War life. That's the difficult thing about this game, is there's just so much going on and so much decision making that it can be very difficult to make the right decision, especially because you do not have all the information all the time. So Terran does come in here and scout the hatch timing, and we'll come in here and scout this spawning pool timing. Probably feel very comfortable to take a quick expansion. Wow, he's going for 14 CC. Almost a 15 CC. But he is going for a very fast CC, which, you know, he's in the position to do that. He scouts everything well. He's making those decisions, and he's sticking to it. It always feels good when you can get this 15 CC down from 0 Marines and you're able to scout everything. Let's see, does he look at the eggs? He does not see the eggs. And we're going for 3 hatch. So now I don't know at the pro level what this means, but at lower levels, I myself, when I see 3 hatch like this, I'm very concerned about a lot of lings being flooded. And he did see all of those lings there, so he's got his bunker started. 6 lings though. They're gonna get here right as the bunker finishes. So does he run by or does he pull back? That is the question. Great bunker timing. He's got to get in that bunker ASAP though. Well, he does pull back. It's interesting that he sent some lings over here. I guess he hadn't scouted, so he did not know where Terran was. So this is a really strong position for our green Terran launch. I gotta say, he got the greedy expansion. He got basically everything he wanted to get. He got Zerg to waste larva on 6 lings that he did not want. One thing though, he does have 1 extra guy in gas, which can be a bit painful. And Zerg is going for layer now, but this is not a fast layer. This is a pretty slow layer. He's not going to be able to scout it very quickly, but he did see no gas initially when he was in Genesis space. So he should feel pretty confident. I am curious to see if he adds any additional sunks here. Hopefully he does not, because it is not currently needed, but he's not, which is good. I mean, even the 1 sunk is probably unnecessary since he did scout the fast expansion, but having 1 almost done, or, you know, prepared is just kind of a comfort for a lot of Zergs. This is an interesting push out with 0 medics. His academy is pretty late. He does have that 2nd creep colony started. This is a very aggressive push here to do with no medics in your army. You know, hopefully, let's see what he does. Is he just going to pull all the way back? Now, I do stuff like this sometimes too, and can understand how comfortable it could make you feel. But I will say he did not have an SCV in the Zerg's base, and Zerg is going for Hydra Lurker builds. 3 hatch into Lurkers, which is an interesting position to be in. Does launch scout it, though? That's the question, because he should be scanning as soon as... Ooh, see, this is the painful thing here when you're out here with these 8 Marines that effectively die for nothing. That is painful. I mean, it looks like he killed an Overlord, but I would much rather take 8 Marines than an Overlord any day of the week. He is able to get the scan down. He scans the double Evo chamber and the Hydra Den, so pretty confident to say that there's going to be a decent amount of lurkers, probably go into Crazy Zerg from here. But look at this Terran army. Imagine there's 8 additional Marines here. That would be a sizable force in this stage of the game, but without those 8 Marines, it does not look as intimidating as it should. That being said, he is going up to 4 barracks. He's got a factory with an add-on, building 1 starport, and does have his +1 almost done, has range started, about halfway done. So, you know, he's comfortable. He's got the worker lead. He does not think Zerg is on a 3rd base yet, as he did scout pretty healthy locations. And he does know that the Zerg is not going Muta, so he has not built almost any turrets. He built, what, 1, 2 turrets? Yeah, so Terran is feeling pretty happy in this position, I would imagine. This SCV is painful. I do this constantly, I feel like. I feel like you can never not do it, no matter how many times you try. But this is going to be a tough thing to hold. You know, you've got 6 lurkers here. Not a very sizable bio army because you lost those first Marines. But wow, he does pick off that first lurker with 0 damage done to the Terran army. That is great. This is a very difficult thing to hold against, though, without any tanks. When Zergs go for some sort of Hydra lurker push, it's very all-in-y, but it's still a very difficult thing to hold without any bunkers. You know, really he needs to be probably putting some bunkers over here and some turrets, but he is just going to go in there, push in, picks another lurker off at the price of 1 Marine. So talk about efficient trading here from launch. He's been able to dive in, but he's going to get contained here. He's got 1 tank on the high ground. And let's see how he decides to control this. This is painful. He didn't lose that many Marines, though. So he's got 2 tanks now. He can scan and start to pick off multiple lurkers here. He gets 1. Another one is deep in the red. He is able to scout that 3rd expansion and also scouts that there are no drones here. So he should be feeling pretty comfortable that if he holds, he is in a good position. Ooh, this is dangerous to be pushing out here without any other units. This is a great position, though. I mean, if he's able to cut off any reinforcements, he can set himself up to swallow this Zerg army. Now, swallowing a bunch of lurkers with Marines, this many lurkers with Marines, can be very difficult, but it does look like he's just going to die for that 3rd expansion, which is a good move. I mean, there's no lurkers here on the high ground. He doesn't have anything walled off. It's just 1 sunken. Zerg is trying to react. Genesis is trying to react, but he's in a tough spot. He's going to see that his 3rd expansion is going to get attacked right here, and he tries to throw down some 3 quick colonies, but this is not going to be quick enough to stop this. But Terran does need to go now before these lurkers get up in here. If he waits too long, he is not going to be able to kill this base. And it looks like Genesis is going to be able to hold this. Gotta say. Yeah, I put ourselves in single player. Wow, that's a surprising hold. If he had just dived into that expansion, he would have definitely been able to kill all the drones and probably the expansion, but He's a little tentative there. So he is setting himself up though for a decent sized force. But this Lurker Hydra army can be a very difficult thing for the not top players to deal with. It's very difficult to manage. It's so quick and easy to lose your entire army to Lurkers. And then with the Hydra push, it can be rough. But, Genesis is still behind economically. He's got his upgrades going. He's going up the Hive. He's got his Queen's Nest. He is researching and teching very efficiently, but he is getting pushed here with science vessels, with tanks, and with a sizable bioforce. Pretty good control from Terran here. He really didn't lose a whole lot. He needs to reinforce with this additional bio ball up here. Those two forces together is very scary for Zerg to deal with. There's a couple of queens out. They don't have the energy yet, and they won't for a decent amount of time. And you've got 5 siege tanks knocking at your door. This is a strong position here that our Green Terran is in. He's got 1-1 on his Marines. And he's got a lot of tanks. He's going to get flanked here. And he did not reinforce, so I think he's still going to be able to kill this army off, though. Let's get the defense matrix going. Yeah, there you go. Genesis holds. Yeah, the burrow was very slow, but he's still going to be able to hold. At least I think. Yeah, there we go. 1 Marine left, 3 medics. And there is that reinforcement army. If he had reinforced a little bit earlier, he's got some other units up here, he would have absolutely been able to push through to the natural. But it's great hold there from Genesis, from Martin. I believe it's Martin B, right? Double check that. Yeah, Martin B. So, great holds. Way to be resilient. You cannot fight against this bio ball uphill like that, though, with Hydras, because your Hydras will just get melted. He does have a couple of Lurkers up here that, hopefully in the future he will stack these Lurkers. It makes it a lot more difficult to deal with. And he is still behind economically. He's got the Defiler Mound going. He's got his Queens ready. But he was able to manage, he managed to kill all the tanks without Queens anyways. Looks like our Terran player has started +2 armor and has +2 attack. He is going to be able to knock down this 4th expansion, and he is taking his own 4th expansion as well, which is really nice. Now there are only 2 Lurkers up here, so if he irradiates these down, there's not even a Nidus Canal over here, so he can absolutely push up here and take this base out. Curious to see here what Genesis decides to do from here. He's in a tough spot. He's only on 3 bases, doesn't have any Nidus up. Got the Defiler Mound, and he's going Hydra Lurker, but he really hasn't been able to, gather a large enemy, or a large force at all. Meanwhile, Green is upgrading really well and efficiently. He's got plenty of vessels. He's in a really good position, and ooh, kind of painful to walk into that. Luckily, the reaction was a tad slow, so you did have to waste 3 irradiates in order to kill those Lurkers. Now, getting those 3 Lurkers for energy is still really nice, because, energy is essentially free, so 3 free Lurkers is definitely a bargain. But Genesis is in a tough spot. You know, he hasn't been able to take a 4th expansion. He really doesn't have enough gas to go into what he wants to go into and you know, tech up efficiently. And he has lost a lot of units for just energy and marines, which are minerals. Anytime you can trade minerals for gas is always a great thing to do, especially in Terran versus Zerg. You almost feel like as Terran that you can never spend your minerals efficiently. Even if you go up to something like 9 barracks. So Terran's in a really strong position here. He's up to 60 SCVs. Absolutely needs to transfer SCVs out of his main, but he's still in a very strong position. Has plenty of energy on these vessels to either do an eraser or knock down these lurkers, prevent this 4th expansion from coming up. Now, this was he tried very hard to block these irradiates on these lurkers with his overlords. Not quite. He did not quite fall for that, though. So, once these lurkers go down, I mean, there's an additional army coming up here, but again, you're just trading energy for gas, so happy to do that as the Terran player. His upgrades are good. He just got 3+3 weapons just finished, so right as I clicked on that unit. He's set up to really take this game home, I think. Would love to see a transition into battle cruisers, which it looks like he is doing that right now. Even has the +1 air weapons started, which is great. I gotta say, Launch is playing a great game here. You know, there's a couple of small fights going on here, but these are still, again, you're still trading minerals for gas for Terrans. So he killed something like 5 lurkers there. Lost a couple handfuls of marines, not a big deal. Zergling counter is going to be great. Let's see if he sends that to the top left. Genesis does not know, martingb does not know that there's an expansion up there, but he may send the links up there anyways. But you have a great reaction here from Launch. Great map control, great movement from him. And we are still kind of building a mix of units here for Zerg. Looks like he's banking up minerals, but has not been able to get the gas needed to go into something like Ultra. He still has these 4 queens over here, which have not done anything, and here comes the Death March. Look at this army from our green hero. Yeah, he has not been able to mine that gas yet. I mean, he's mining it now. It's of a few moments ago. But 200, 200 maxed out with 3-2 from Terran. Plenty of science vessels, a few tanks mixed in. And he's attacking multiple locations. This is... wow. He lost 1 vessel, 2 vessels for 20 Scourge there. And the Defiler is not throwing down his cloud. He desperately needs to throw that down in order to stop this army, but I gotta say, I mean, attacking 2 positions at once. Ooh, he's losing a lot of vessels though for free, with a lot of energy built up, which is a painful thing. And this can be kind of the difficult thing for Terrans. You know, you've got this massive army, but it takes a lot of control in order to use it efficiently. If you do not micro well, you will simply just lose your marines to basically 2 lurkers, right? Attacking both sides is great, flanking each position is great, but you have to really manage your army, otherwise it will just die inefficiently. I would love to see an eraser though coming out of Launch here. I mean, there are so many drones over here now. both the natural and the main pretty much mined out here. 76 minerals, 64 and 4. So those are both mined out. The majority of the drones are here at this 4th base. Looks like he's trying to set up... Ooh, again, losing vessels to Hydras. This can be the difficult thing for Terran players, though, is to be able to control those units efficiently. And, ooh, losing a lot of units for free. That being said, he's still, you know, almost maxed out versus 140 Zerg. Zerg is trying to stabilize on multiple gases. And here come the battle cruisers. So this is a really, really strong play by Launch here. He's got plenty of money to do it. In fact, he kind of has too many SCVs at this point. Probably should sack maybe 10 of them. But he's just holding some map control, making sure he doesn't get countered or flanked from, you know, a variety of positions. Zerg does have some opportunity to flank, but not as much as you'd think. Look at the transfer here. All these drones are still coming over here to this 4th base, essentially. This thing has 30 drones at it, I think. So, sending the BCs in to kill the Defiler Mound when it's in this position is a really smart play. Really liking this from Green Terran here. He has so much money. I think something that a lot of Terran players at this skill level, myself included, do not do and should do more often is start to build more buildings over here at your, basically your 5th base. But these BCs are trading really well. Now, this is the difficult thing though. We know that Zerg has a bunch of Hydras, so, you know, going up to 4 BCs is great. He's able to pick off the Defiler Mound. He's going to get all these lurkers for free, essentially. And at this point, he almost needs to just trade money with the Zerg, because he has so much of it. These bunkers are not loaded fully, so a counter is has some potential, but it looks like Zerg is going to come in and try to surround this army instead. And this is going to be a rough position for Zerg to counter. There's still plenty of tanks up here. He's trying to go for the full surround, but you've got plenty of Marines. Ooh. Wow. Luckily, he did not focus the 1 BC that had Defense Matrix, so he is able to take down all 3 of those BCs. But again, Terran has just got all the money in the world to do what he wants. And Zerg lost their Defiler Mound. So they're going to lose the natural here, it looks like. I don't believe that Defiler Mound has been rebuilt. And without Defilers, you're never going to stop this Terran army. You really need Defilers or fully upgraded Ultras in order to push this back. So, looks like Zerg's going to lose this whole main. Yeah, Launch is crushing it, man. He's got a really strong attack going here. We'll see. Does Zerg just counter, or do they try to save anything? It looks like they're trying to take this high ground. Zerg loses all of their tech. Hopefully he starts to rebuild it quickly. It does not look like he is, though. So he's gonna have to start from tech 0, basically, it looks like. Meanwhile, Launch is still building SCVs. He's up to 70. This is something that a lot of players struggle with, is at this stage in the game, you're kind of falling back a little bit on habits and will continue to produce SCVs into the 80 supply mark. I definitely do this myself, and it can be a hard thing to stop yourself from doing. So we'll see how high he gets on the SCV count. And Zerg is starting from tech 0. He's building that layer again. He does not even have a supply deep or as a spawning pool. Looks like he just started one now. So hopefully Launch does not give him enough time to come back from this. The ball's in his court. You know, he can absolutely walk across the map and essentially kill the Zerg. There's a lot of medics here. But, you know, I mean, it's a healthy number for how big his bioforce is, actually. It's totally fine. He's building dropships. Is he continuing to get upgrades for his BCs? It looks like he has abandoned the BCs for drops instead. Zerg trying to take another hidden expansion over here. Show me the money. 200 APM Terran. Yeah, 200 APM Terran versus 100 APM Zerg. That is a lot of lurkers, though. And this can be one of those things where, can you really attack up into this high ground without tanks? That was a nice cancel on that hatchery there. And this is going to be a nice counter from Genesis, from martingb. Where's he going to send these links? Meanwhile, you're going to have one BC siege this high ground versus all these Hydras. It's not really going to get a whole lot done. The bunker's going to clean up all of these Zerglings. This game's still going. I fully respect the fact that, you know, Genesis is not giving up. He's playing this out. He wants Launch to put the nail in the coffin, and he's not going to do it himself. So this is a great thing. He absolutely should continue to play out, because you just never know. You know, you run your entire bio army into these lurkers, and then you have to build it with your 14,000 minerals over and over and over again. That happens. It's a lot of minerals, though, I gotta say. You know, Launch is very impressive. Definitely one of the stronger tier 1 players, I would say. So, and again, I mean, though, Genesis is hanging in there. He's really trying to establish another base over here. He's controlling his army pretty well. He's setting up positionally very well. This one SCV has been over here since like the 10-minute mark, though, which is pretty funny. He's got a Queen's Nest and a Spire started again. He's getting a lot of his tech rebuilt. And he's trying. He's fighting tooth and nail for each expansion. Ball is definitely in Terran's court to get something done. He's got a lot of energy here on all these vessels. There's not a lot of vessels here, but still, when they're full maxed energy like this is one of those painful things where you've got to be spending your mineral for your energy. Ooh, losing those Marines is painful as well. I mean, he's got plenty of money to rebuild them, but something that's dangerous that can happen is when you overproduce SCVs and you keep producing them, your army starts to get smaller and smaller and smaller until you realize you don't have an army anymore. Yeah, absolutely. You absolutely could have irradiated all of those lurkers there. He's got these same 4 queens that he built too at the like the 12-minute mark or something like that. Am I a ghost head? Nice. There's a lot of medics here. You know, he's continuing to build science vessels, which I think is the right play. Looks like he's building some vultures with mines. He's got the mines upgrades. He's got 0 upgrades on his mech though, so aside from just laying mines, those vultures are pretty useless. There we go. He starts to use that energy. He's got so much energy, he can basically wipe out the entire lurker line here at this expansion. But, you know, Genesis, martingb, he's hanging in there. He's trying to make this a game. He's in a tough spot. Terran has been able to basically mine as much as he wanted to mine, and it looks like he's just going to go for a big counter. Which, again, is one of those things where Terran players, myself included, do not often rebuild buildings at the other corner base in these types of situations. So if Zerg gets on your, on your production line, it can be a painful thing. Zerg has a very strong push coming in here. He's taken out the entire army. He's setting himself for a big punch into the main. Wow, he's getting all the vessels, and all of a sudden, Terran's in a little bit of a panic mode. Yeah, a little bit of casting, Zesky. You want to jump in CPL Discord, you can join me. This is one of those positions that you hate to be in as a Terran player. You're so far ahead. You have all the money in the world, and Zerg snuck its, yeah, go for it, Zesky, jump in. I'm probably only going to do a couple more games, but hop on in. I might have to change some settings, though. But anyways, I mean, we've got an epic counter here. Coming in from Genesis, martingb really making this into a game. Putting launch on his back foot. And all of a sudden, Terran's panicking. All he has is Marines. He's losing his whole army. And Zerg's about to be on your production line. This can be a tough thing. Yeah, Panic and Skywalker is left saying in chat, right? This is a very tough thing for Terran players. Is, you're so far ahead, but you feel like you can't kill Zerg. You killed his whole main, and all of a sudden you're wondering, am I throwing this game? Now, I still think he's in a really good position. If he stabilizes, if he's able to essentially just macro back up, if he gets some more vessels out, which he's building 3 at a time. Oh no, he's building battle cruisers again, which is still a good choice. The Hydras are 2-2. I think vessels and tanks would probably be best in this situation. As long as he can avoid that orange cloud in his natural, he can be in a good position. I mean, luckily, the hive had to be rebuilt. All the tech had to be rebuilt, so there's not even a Defiler mound out. So he doesn't have to worry about that for one, while. The BCs are really helpful to get rid of the lurkers, but the problem is there's 2-2 Hydras right here. So, if these are just micro very well, you're not going to be able to kill the lurkers, so. Now, this is great, though, over here. He's starting to build into mech. He's starting to build additional production over here. The only thing is, his mech upgrades are still, I believe, I don't see any mech anywhere, so I can't click on anything. But I believe they're still 0-0. Look at all these SCVs over here. He needs to throw away some of these SCVs. Oh, there's Vulture. Oh, he's 2-2. So, he has been upgrading mech when we weren't looking at that, so that's a great thing. But he needs to get out of his main base in order to not die to Defilers when they get back out. So, and I mean, this is the way you do it, right? You soften up those Hydra Ball. You start to irradiate these lurkers, and you push out of your natural. Oh, saving that vessel is great. That's 1 dead lurker as soon as he uses it. That's 2 dead lurkers as soon as he uses that energy. Yeah, there's a party at 12. All these workers out. They're finally doing something with their lives, which is great. Right? They're going to join the middle class now and go over here. Work for the man over here. Launches clearly Jeff Bezos with this amount of money saved up. So, sending those workers out to mine out an additional base. Now, this base is going to be mined out very quickly, though. So, He should really probably send him to the mineral only. But again, he's getting himself in a tough position if defilers get across the map. The defiler mound, it doesn't look like it was built, so at least there's that. Zerg did sneak an additional base over here, which is great, and he is countering really well in a moment. But you do have Met coming into this position to stop it, so he'll be fine versus these Lings. They're only 2-0. Well, 0-2. They're not really going to do a whole lot versus 2-2 mech. He's got to get out of this base. He has so much energy he needs to spend on these science vessels. So I gotta say, this is a very long game. 37 minutes, much longer than the other series we previously casted. So interesting decision to pull his entire army over here when Zerg is at your doorstep. You know, and this is one of those things where Terran players don't often find themselves in this position, right? They are split map with Zerg. They've essentially upgraded every type of unit. And, you know, they've got all the money in the world. They're mined out of their main, their natural, their third, their fourth, almost their fifth base. And they're just trying to figure out a way to kill that Zerg. But I gotta give it to Genesis, to martingb. He really sticks it. You know, he sticks in the game. He doesn't quit. He doesn't give up. Nice healthy push coming out of over here. Lots of tanks. And there's still not a Defiler's Mound, I don't believe. So this is going to be a very difficult thing to hold for Genesis. Come on, come on, come on. I was hoping he would defense matrix that, but he actually saved it regardless. So now Zerg's just going for the full counter. Now the question is, does Terran care? He's going to lose all of his supply depots, which sucks, but he's clearly made the transition to mech. He's going to kill the Zerg's new main, basically, and natural. And all he's going to lose is the supply depots. And, you know, the armory, I guess. The academy. So he won't be able to kill medics. But as long as he starts to build supply depots fast, and, you know, essentially builds a nice wall over here at this base, he's gonna be in a fine position. This is a lot of vessels with a lot of energy. Let me ban this guy. Now he loses all of his supply depots. He's not building enough at it quick enough to actually get himself unsupply blocked. And this is, if he does not do something quickly, he's gonna get countered over here, and has potential to not hold this. There's a little bit of a siege line here, but that's a large Zerg army. The one thing is there are no defilers, so. But each unit you lose is a unit you don't get back again because you're supply blocked forever. So, let's see how well this goes. I'm going to zoom out more. He's not attacking with the full force of his army, though. So, you know, it doesn't really matter too much if Terran loses this expansion because they have all the money in the world. You really need to get on top of the production if you're going to win this game from Zerg's position. Finally using these 4 queens that were built at the 20-minute mark. Way to not forget about them. Yeah, he did not forget about these queens. Man, martingb really putting this together. Honestly, it looks like he's done it. I mean, I'm impressed. He was dead for a good portion of the game. you know, Launch is going to be kicking himself at the end of this game, because he really let this one go, unfortunately. But great play overall. I mean, he played really well in the mid game. He played really well at the early game. You just can't let Zerg sit for too long. That's the painful thing. It's a painful lesson to learn. He's on top of the production. Terran has a little bit of an army. I mean, you know, maybe miracles happen and he holds this. They're both down to 20 workers. But the impossible thing for Terran here is there is nowhere for you to rebuild your production. You have nowhere to rebuild production, so you can't spend your money no matter what. And at this point, Genesis has got to be thinking, why are you still in this game? But he does not know about this expansion yet. That is a lot of vessels. If he could trade as efficiently as one ever could with vessels, maybe he holds this. You know, Genesis doesn't have any money, doesn't have any tech. He also can't really build a whole lot. He can build Hydras, and that's about it. Oh, the infested command center. Hate to see it. You know, the first time I ever played in CPL, somebody did this to me. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of anti-air, so a couple of Scourge, but there is no Spire on the map. So you currently can't build any Scourge. And I don't believe I see any out on the map. So, unfortunately, can't build any at the moment, but he's going to build some infested Terrans. This is interesting, too. I mean, he's got these medics here. He's got to pull these home. And you don't want to be trading energy for overlords at this point. You know, you got to use your energy on basically anything that is attacking. You know, their armies are pretty similar in size. Zerg's army is slightly bigger, but his upgrades are not the best. I mean, they're okay on the Hydras, or they're good on the Hydras, but not on the Zerglings. Versus 3-3 air, 3-3 ground, and 3-3 mech. You do not want to lose these BCs for free, though. If you can soften up all these units, now these two BCs are going to get knocked down for free. That is painful. He just has nowhere to build production. Building supply depots, he's trying to expand bottom left. This one SCV has finally done something. This SCV has been here the vast majority of the game, so power to him. He did not forget. Zerg's coming in here for this kill on this command center. But I mean, honestly, at this point, you don't need command centers. You need production. You still got all the money in the world. You just need production. If he could max out again, he'd be in a really great position. But he has nowhere he can build units. And there's just nowhere you can go if you're Terran in this position. Got one starport left over here. Zerg has, you know, basically mined out every location except for this mineral only he has over here. Does not have a whole lot of drones. Does not have any gas. You still have 8 science vessels. I can't believe this game is still going. This game might go for an hour. It's gonna go forever. What are we at? 45 minutes? Yeah. I can't believe it's gone on this long either. Again, just trying to use some of this energy, which is great. I mean, if he can really use this energy efficiently, Gonna put him in a good spot, and he's got a lot of it. So even killing, oh, don't lose a vessel though. Oh, that's painful. But I mean, even killing a Hydra here and there is very good. I mean, you're weakening up other Hydras. I just don't see how Terran comes back from this location. martingb. Yeah, there's infested Terrans. He's building them right here. He's got an infested CC over here, so. Wow, I'm kind of at a loss. This has been a wild game. This is only game 1. Got the Defilement again. He's got his tech. Yeah, 20,000 in the bank, but no way to spend it. And that's the difficult thing. This is smart though. I mean, he's coming in here. He's trying to get rid of this command center. He dematrixed every unit he has. But he's gonna lose all these medics and all these units. And I just don't know what he does from here. Does he come up here and scout this production over here? That is one of the questions we have. He does get the... Oh, he didn't get the infested CC. The medic massacre of 48 minutes. I mean, this is an interesting thing. Unfortunately for Genesis, for martingb, he did lose his queen, so he doesn't have a quick, easy way to get rid of these siege tanks. If he still had those 4 queens, then there would be some potential there. What are these overlords doing? Are these going to be drops? Hey Zen, yeah, this has been a crazy game, man. This is unbelievable. He is building wraiths with cloak. He should fly this additional starport over. He's also got a starport over here. Funny that the Zerg is taking this expansion with no minerals left. Yeah, he's got some production in the top left, which is great. He's still got all these science vessels alive with all the energy in the world to use. And no spire from martingb. So all he needs to do is build a spire somewhere in order to deal with those science vessels. But at this point in the game, you know, you've been playing for 50 minutes. You're just trying to hold on tooth and nail, and both players have honestly played really phenomenally at different moments in the game. It's been wild. You hate to see this, but at least he got one of the vessels, so he's now down to 6 from the 9 he had. He's building more drones, so he's decided to turn this into a macro game at the 50-minute mark. But I mean, Zerg's in the commanding position. Terran, I just don't see a path to victory from here. I mean, this is great. He's building a hilarious line of tanks up here. But what does he do? More Hydras being produced. You know, he saw this, what this looks like. Are Hydras the right decision to make? This is all you got to take out, you know. Oh no, you just built these wraiths, they're so expensive. Both players though, very creative, really not giving up. Does Launch come back from this? I mean, I honestly don't know at this point. I didn't see a way for him to lose. And then martingb just fought tooth and nail to come back into this game after losing his entire main, his natural, his entire tech tree, never giving up, countering at the right time to wipe Terran's main. You know, launch, I think, was up to like 24,000 minerals at some point in the bank. This has been a wild game. And I mean, from this position, if all you've got is Hydra versus mass siege tank, and you know, does he even have any defilers? I don't think so. He's got a defiler's mound. He's got 3/3 Hydras versus 3/3 mech. Yeah, I mean, he's doing something with this. But at what point does martingb just say, okay, I've had enough, I'm going to drop my entire army onto your only mining base? Zerg does have speed overlords. So, you know, he can drop if he chooses to do that. Do we hit the 1 hour mark? That is another question that we may or may not get answered very soon. We've got 8 minutes until we're there, or 7 minutes, I suppose. Zerg is loading up his forces into these overlords. He's got speed. He's got the power. He's got the mission. He knows what he wants to do. You know, this is going to be, I mean, at this point, there's so many units here. How do you even manage it, right? You got 2 control groups of overlords, almost. That is the play. Do you even bother to drop on the tanks over here, or do you just drop on the base and end it that way? Look at all these vessels over here killing. This was Terran's main, by the way, at the beginning of this game. That gas has been mined out forever, and Zerg still built a gas up there. Here it comes. You know, you gotta spread these overlords a little bit, but I guess there is only a little line of tanks here. No anti-air, and I mean, at that point, I think that might be the nail in the coffin here for our Terran hero. You know, and more than anything, it's going to be the supply depots. Losing all these supply depots, because you don't need a CC at this point. When you have 20,000 minerals, you don't need any more CCs. You only need production and supply depots. But you know, he has no anti-air. He's building some wraiths, but wraiths are not going to knock down 2 control groups of overlords. Wow, what an incredible game. 54 minutes, 55 minutes now. I did not expect to get into this kind of game today. Absolutely wild. And this is only game 1 in the series, so, you know, 4 workers left there for launch. He's definitely kicking himself at the end of this game. He had this game won, and unfortunately, he just wasn't able to finish it. So, Zerg was able to bring himself back into the game. Oh, losing all these vessels. Look at all the energy on these vessels. You know, that's almost enough to kill a whole Zerg army, but unfortunately, he's not going to be able to do it. And Zerg is just going to get up here, finish off the last tank right here. Here's our last hero. And from there, I think we're going to probably see GG out of launch. Capital GG. I like that. That was an epic game. Absolutely fucking wild. And I just, yeah, unbelievable. Let me get over to the right screen here. And I got the graphic messed up. Launch is actually Terran, but whatever. I'm learning, so I'll get there. martingb takes game 1 in an unbelievable fashion. Absolutely wild. 56-minute game. Ridiculous. So, alrighty. I am going to need a break from that for a second. Let me get to the right screen here. We'll change this to 5-minute break here. And Zesky, come join me if you want. Alrighty. So we are back, and we are joined by Zesky and FridgeRaider, my fellow Artosis mod. Hopefully you guys can hear them in chat. So, Fridge, can you say something and we'll just test it out?
What's up, guys? Can you guys hear me?
And then Zesky, would you say something and we'll test it out?
I mean, you've all heard my voice, but Fridge's voice is new, so you know.
Fridge's voice is new. We'll definitely touch on that.
Yeah, it's a debut here.
Perfect.
On the CPL cast.
Leth is giving us the thumbs up. So let me start the game and switch over to the right screen. Let's get this screen switched over. So we have, here we go. We have martingb versus Genesis Game 2. Zesky, why don't you do introductions?
So in the top right, in the tan Terran, he tried his hardest in that nearly 1 hour game, but he gave Genesis a hell of a fight. It is launch. And on the upper side of the map, in the yellow Zerg, played his absolute heart out. It is Nom Genesis.
Nom Genesis is right. martingb, as he goes by, I think, in CPL's website.
That's right.
Now, Fridge, are you part of Nom?
Yeah, I'm part of Nom. I'm part of their Division D roster. Yeah.
All right, I thought you were part of Nom, but I was not 100% sure. So, well, give us some insight. I mean, do you know much about martingb?
We were actually on the same CPL team last season, and Martin had come in as like a tier 3 Zerg, right? So he had a lot to learn, but he improved really quickly through CPL, and I have to say, they don't like ZVT that much, given that it's a pretty hard matchup for Zerg, but I'm looking at the games today, and that was just a really impressive win that first game. I have to say, they've improved a ton.
Absolutely. I mean, considering the position they were in to come back and fight out an hour-long game, coming from a tier 3 Zerg, now a tier 1 Zerg, that's very impressive. Absolutely. That's wild.
It's a story arc, man.
It is.
Story arc.
It is a big story arc, and it's scary, for the rest of us tier 1 players like myself. I mean, I know you two are both tier 0, but for a tier 1 player like myself, I gotta play against these guys, and I don't know if I want to play against somebody who can play an hour-long comeback game of the century. So we'll see,
that's
though.
True. You gotta be really patient to be able to do that.
I mean, that's an intimidating factor. I'm not that patient myself, so. But it looks like we have standard openings from both players. Hash before pool and standard racks. Last game, Launch did go for a very fast CC. He actually went for a 14 CC, and this time he's going for a 15 CC with the Scout. So, what do you think of that?
Given that it's a 12 patch opening, that seems really solid. Just get the CC out of there, try to match the expansion timing of Zerg, I guess. Is that a thing in CVT? It can be, yeah. Now, personally, I don't like 15cc. I prefer to go for 19cc, so I can play a little bit aggressive. And I played around with both. Zesky, how do you feel about it?
In TVZ?
Yeah.
Yeah, 15cc is only viable, really, if you first go what Launch did here. But it's actually quite a long rush distance, so you have to send. I find if you send the SCV a little bit earlier, then you can sort of get the gamble with that 15cc. But if you do and they are going 12 edge, you're a golden. Just you get so many more SCVs. You get an extra 3 or 4 things. It's quite insane.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I really like it for TVZ, especially on 4-player maps. Really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But obviously, super situation. You've got to get that first go. If you don't, then you're gonna have what's going on here, 6 slings really going across the map and they'll just kill you.
Yeah,
Speaking of 6 slings, we have 8 coming across the map right now, and I mean with the bunker down, he should be very much safe from like a run by or anything like that. But
good response from launch. Like,
yeah,
you have to get bunked down.
Yeah, the run by can be painful here. If he runs by here, it can be kind of rough.
Yeah, he's going the long way around, but that's a really good block.
But great block.
Really good SCV blocking. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely great block. You're correct there, Fridge. It's, you know, this is kind of identical to what we saw last game. martingb did build, I think, 8 lings last game and try to push him in, and Launch just was really on top of his control and able to block and get away with the greedy opening.
Yeah, only 4 lings are going to survive the encounter. And that SCV is still inside Genesis's base, so it's going to get to see everything. It's going to spot that Hydra Den.
Yeah, that's pretty big, seeing that den.
Yeah, the den and lair combo.
Yeah.
And the third hatch as well. Seeing all of that just gives you... You could probably now not get comm sets for ages and get +1 range stim all before you comm sets. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's a great scouting SCV, absolutely. Very similar build to what happened last game, with the exception of the Academy is on time. Last game, the Academy was pretty late, so he did not have medics or stim in time. And he did push out with these 8 Marines like last game.
Is he gonna get that Overlord? Oh, he gets the
Overlord.
Overlord.
He got the Overlord.
Critical. Oh, that's so unfortunate for
No
Genesis.
way.
Terrans are built different, man.
I never get that Overlord, I gotta tell you.
That's unfortunate, but I mean, he's got 3 more already on the way, so I guess it won't be too bad. But that supply block sucks right now.
Yeah, it's painful, especially because it affects your drone count quite a bit. You know, you'd like to be building more drones a little bit here, so not being able to do that, having to build more Overlords. Overlords are so expensive at the start for Zerg, not only on minerals, but also on larva. Granted, he is on 3 hatch, so it's not as painful.
Yeah, there's that next round of drones that you were talking about. And he throws down a second Greek colony, 3rd, 4th. Oh, okay, so yeah, they're just gonna try to survive this attack.
I don't think it'll be on time, because this group's already across the map and they are still turning into creep colonies. Like, he could snipe down that sunk and there are lings to defend it.
He's got to stim and go now. It might... I mean, just getting the Overlord is good. I mean, he doesn't even have to go in from there. At this point, it's too late. So, tight positions there, but getting 2 Overlords early, very, very strong position.
Yeah, it looked like they could have maybe done a bit more damage, but yeah, I mean, the window closed a bit quickly. I think it was good. They didn't overcommit. They're just kind of staying... Well, they missed the circling move out, I think, but like, if they kept their Marines like kind of just out front, maybe they could do like a light contain and then pull back later. I know what happened like game 1, he had his 8 Marines out and then they just got squashed because they didn't move back in time. So
yeah, game 1 he had his 8 Marines out and he didn't have any medics with them because his Academy was so late. So he ended up just getting basically ran over. This is a great little run by here. You know, this can be a painful thing to deal with.
Nicely handled there.
Yeah, absolutely. Launch really handled that well. There's a little bit of miss micro there from Genesis, from martingb, but you know, either way, it wasn't the worst trade in the world. He did get at least a couple of Marines.
He also sniped a drone trying to take its 3rd base, delayed it a little bit longer. So
yeah, the third from Zerg is pretty late here, and he's still on a very low drone count. He's got no Spire, so Terran hasn't had to build any turrets. I think he's just now building, 2 turrets total. This is a strong position for Launch to be in.
Launch moving across the map again. It looks like they may try to strike at the 3rd, potentially, but there's lurkers there to cover it now. And actually, it looks like they're going for a potential 3rd of their own up at that 11 o'clock location.
I think it's a bit dicey for martingb because as soon as this vessel pops out, oh no, it's the dropship instead. That's interesting.
You know, a lot of Terrans do like to go dropship on this map. If they feel like they're in advantageous position, especially if there is no Spire. This is going to be painful, though, if he doesn't control this well. He does pull back.
Oh, that poor medic running the wrong way.
Yeah, she threw her life away just because of pathing, you know. So we can blame Blizzard for that one. Which, you know, we can blame Blizzard for most things, so...
I've said this multiple times, but I'll say it again. I don't know why they're like investing so much into chat GDP and all that. They should just like copy the medic AI. That's pretty smart already. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I bet you we could get chat GPT to fix that Dragoon and medic AI and pathing if we asked it. All you got to do is ask. So this is interesting though to have the dropship in the bottom left. With this control group of units, not necessarily where I would drop if I was a Terran player, but you know, it'll be interesting. Does he run it all the way to the main or the natural? I guess the natural would be okay.
He's got Hydra there and lurkers. Everybody's pretty much defended for a drop.
There it goes. Going for its run.
I think he's got to take it to the natural, right? Yeah, it looks like he's going to go to the natural, which is the best position for him to currently drop. Does he go all the way to the main? He does. Very interesting decision making to bring this dropship through that pathing and not from the top side. But there's nothing here to defend it, and you know, he's free to kill as many drones as he wants to.
Genesis pulls away, but not before losing a couple drones, and the Hydralistan is going to go down for sure. I'm not sure what other tech that Terran can get with this.
He can get the spawning pool, the Evo chamber, but he's going straight for the Queen's Nest, just dodging the lurkers just in time. He might just grab this Queen's Nest, maybe not.
He's just barely not going to get it.
Yeah, it's going to get saved.
It does get saved. He does save his dropship, which is nice. He's got his third expansion done. Just needs to transfer over there. And the big difference in this game is he's got 2 factories with siege tanks as opposed to the 2 starport. So he is just going for a big mech bio push here. Last game he was on 2 starports, 3 starports actually around this time, and bio only. So this will be a big, strong push, I think, versus what Zerg is doing.
Yeah, and then it seems Genesis has a couple units out front. It looked like they wanted to set up some sort of contain, and they're going to get blasted. Oh, man.
Yeah, he doesn't lose a single unit.
Oh, wait, they're all stacked!
Oh, no. Oh, those are some deep red lurkers now.
I didn't even notice that they were all stacked. That actually could have been that could have been a really good like kill for Zerg if they gone unscouted.
Drop in the main.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Nice call. I should I can change their colors. That's what I should be doing. Makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, spawning pool and that's it, I think.
Yeah, spawning pool, some drones. Just a couple of drones it looks like fell. But this push, I just don't know what Genesis is going to be able to do to stop this push from coming. He's got no anti-air, he can't shut down the vessels, and the siege tanks are going to be able to just shoot from, you know, too far away to really get stopped. So what does he do? He's still got 2 Marines in his main as well.
This is a pretty scary looking push, but I mean, Genesis does have a couple of different angles they could go at this from if they can coordinate well, or they could try cutting off reinforcements. I mean, they have options, but oh, well, that's a lot more drones dead.
Yeah, that one volley, I think, took out 5 drones.
Oh, there he goes.
He's going for the full surround, but is it too late?
I think it should show pretty efficiently. It's not that many bio here.
Oh, but the front got cleaned up so quickly.
Yeah, and a great defense matrix as well, and really great targeting from launch there.
Yeah. This
Those
hatch is
matrices.
forfeit.
And those matrices came in absolute clutch. I mean, so many spines targeted those matrices, and crazy. So we are going to lose some tanks because they're unsieged.
He does lose some tanks, but he killed a ton of drones, so he's in a great position. He's got his third base up. He's got production going. He's got his upgrades still rolling. He hasn't forgot, you know, what his goal is here to victory. And
unfortunately, Genesis has also not mined their main gas again, so they're like critically low on gas.
that is a great point. I had not even noticed that. There's still those 2 Marines in the main, which is hilarious. And
There they go, they're mining.
Yeah, this push coming across the map is super strong. He's got to control his units, though. I mean, that's the one thing that can happen is you don't control your bio ball, and then you just get thrown.
Good snipe on the lurker immediately before it finished burning.
And there is the GG. Yeah, that was a much shorter game than the first game, but that puts us 1-1, so we get to go to a third game here. Let me get back to the graphic and update that.
Yeah, it definitely looked like my teammate got a better put up a better response this time around to seeing the 3-hatch lurker going for that double factory and that dropship this time around. So
Yeah, that's right. You're on Fighting Irish, right?
yeah.
How do you say it right? How do you say the name right? I don't know. Is it Irish?
I don't think I've ever said it out loud myself. Yeah, it was just supposed to be like Fighting Aiurish. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because when I loaded these up to play, you know, to go over these games, I realized after I set up the graphic and everything, I don't know how to pronounce that team name. And I was just like, we'll just guess.
You can thank one of our teammates, FA, for that one. They did a great job coming up with that name.
Yeah, well, I had assumed it was his name. All right. Well, I have launched the game for you guys to join. Thanks for joining me, by the way, guys. This is very different from trying to cast it by yourself. So.
Yeah. I'm glad to be here and finally cast the game. So.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I'll be
Although these
doing
aren't
this.
matchups I'm familiar with.
That's okay. That happens. So, you know, it's all good. And I still have the wrong graphic anyways for launch. He is a Terran player. So let me just pause real fast and switch the screen over. There we go. And I will start the game. Fridge, why don't you hit us with our introductions this time?
Okay, we started with our Terran first last time. So in the, I guess, bottom right-ish position, we have our Zerg Genesis in the orange. And in the, I guess, close time, like what, 8 o'clock position, we have our Terran Launch in the blue.
Perfect. Great job.
I always wanted to
tab. And it's Sva3 shift tab and all those colors.
Hey, I unshift tabbed for the introduction, okay? I actually don't like to shift tab unless it's a color that's hard to see. I like to give people the color they choose, personally. So, yeah.
Yeah, orange is a good color, to be honest.
Orange is
a really
good.
color.
Orange is good on Terran and Zerg. And blue is pretty solid on Terran as well. I'll give him some credit. I did like the green that he chose before, but, you know, that's okay. So this can be a difficult map for Terrans at the start of the game versus Mutalisk. Luckily, I think this position is pretty good versus Muta. That bottom right position is pretty painful. The natural is really difficult to defend against Muta. That being said, we have not seen martingb go Muta one time. So it'll be interesting to see if he switches up his strategy or if he continues down the path of, you know, 6 to 8 lings at the start and try to get some damage done into Lurker Hydra.
Yeah, I'm curious about that as well. It looks like we're going to have another 12-hatch opening from Zerg. So,
yeah, pretty standard play. He is sending the drone out to scout, which is great.
Right.
And he'll get to the Terran's base. starts a
I do
spawning
hope we
pool.
see Genesis open with some mutas, because that was a thing that a lot of the Zergs on our team worked on last season in CPL. We had like we had another Nommer. Shun was like getting everybody to do like muta micro practice a lot, and it seemed like they had a lot of improvement in that department. So I do hope we get to see some muta micro this map.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the map for it.
It is the map for it. I think this is one of the stronger maps for mutas in the map pool. You know, in the CPL map pool, I would say this map and I'm blanking on the name, but the blue 3-player map.
Ascension?
Ascension, yeah. Ascension is pretty strong for mutas as well. So
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Anything that flies is
yeah, Ascension.
To take it.
I would rather play this map versus mutas than Ascension, to be honest. Assuming I don't get bottom right position on this map. So we do see another 3-hatch. We've got 6 lings being produced this time as opposed to 8. And you do have the greedy expansion again from launch. Now, he has this timing down just about perfectly to have the bunker finish right as the lings are running into the base. So let's see if he gets it done again. It looks like he's going to.
Yeah, there's those 6 lings. I have to ask though, is that like that 3rd hatch placement has me really interested? Like, is that normal? Is that just meant to try to like hide tech there, or like?
It's the high tech.
Yeah, it's the high tech typically. I've seen Zergs put it up there. I've also seen them put it down in the bottom right of the main. It just depends.
Okay.
It also just makes another spot to scan so you know, easily high tech. Whereas if you put it more in like the the 3rd base, not 3rd base, the natural, or like inside the main, like the side, like sort of like in the where you'd put like gateways and factories, right? If you put it like there as well, it's sort of easy to find the tech off like 2 scans.
Right. Okay.
But I think Launch knows it, like. He doesn't know yet, but it's safe to assume that he's considering the possibility of lurkers again.
Okay,
so
I gotta point this out, but this is a lot more lings than the other 2 games, I think, right? Because this is what, 16 lings, 20 lings now?
Yeah, it's a lot of lings.
Not building drones.
He's not building any drones. He's going for a ling all in. His speed is a little slow to be doing this. But there's an opportunity for him to really pile up a lot of lings.
Oh, the links down that SCV. Don't let him scout this.
I think seeing this many lings already, you go, okay, something's going on. And as soon as he gets into the natural, okay, maybe not, but you'd definitely be suspicious with that many lings. I would start. But he's already got bunker with like 8 marines. Like you can start one-shotting lings. Yeah, he's adding another depot. Like, yeah,
the second depot is really good, but you know, if he does not pull SCVs quick enough, his stim is not done. If he can surround this bottom bioforce, then Terran dies.
That too, helping the wall.
Yeah, I think Terran just dies from here if he doesn't control well.
That's a beautiful surround, but the lings weren't attacking for a second.
It's the problem with the bunker. It's just way too efficient. Even if you get so many lings like attacking at the same time, or you can repair it, but yeah, so many lings go down, and now you can just repair that.
Wow,
yeah,
that was a beautiful ult from launch. I can't believe he survived that. I for sure thought the bunker was gonna go down. I mean, it looked like the lings were on top of everything.
It was just a bit of miscontrol, honestly, from martingb. He could have absolutely won in that position, but it would have been very close. And maybe won is the wrong word. Maybe just done enough damage, but he had a bit of miss micro. And as Zesky's saying, I mean, the bunker just trades so efficiently if you don't micro against it perfectly. Funny thing, though, he did put both his medics in the bunker just now.
Yeah.
Oh, he got out.
Apparently.
Right, they're out, though.
Yeah, they're out there. We're going to go for round 2. I don't think this is going to work. I think the damage is done, but I do have to give him props for not leaving the game too early and trying to fight tooth and nail. I mean, he had that first game that was an hour long where he fought for every single mineral. and was able to pull it out. So let's see if this one works. There's 2 fire bats though, which is gonna make it.
Don't push out.
Oh, and they're in the bunker. And oh, that could have been a mistake if he had pushed out too far forward.
Yep.
Oh, but those medics are like perfect position.
Oh my god, the Lings are just getting roasted.
Yeah.
And so as soon as we get range and +1, like this game will be over.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think we know that martingb has the tenacity to fight it out, so I don't see him leaving the game anytime soon.
I mean, they have a lair, and they are building more drones, so maybe they can find a way to hold or just not get attacked, or find a way to recover. I'd be interested to see how that happens, given the amount of Lings we've lost so far.
It'd be absolutely miraculous if he holds, because we don't have any, like, we have lair, but we don't have any lead tech. We need lurkers to stop the buyer from just killing us, or at least muter to do like a mutiling attack in like the center of the map.
Yeah.
Even if he spams Sunkens right now with like mass ling, if he's got like 4 fire bats and maybe like a few more buyer with this push out that's coming across right now, you can just easily roll over this position. You really need technology for Zerg to hold this like aggressive +1 buyer.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's kind of one of those things where I thought the Zerg was dead the entire first game for over 40 minutes, and he was able to pull it out. But that was mostly just due to Launch not finishing the game. So if Launch decides to sit and not go and attack, there is potential. But like Zesky said, I mean, this is a really tough spot for Zerg to be in.
Yeah, that science facility is already down, the starport's down, the factory has the machine shop added, like, their upgrades are going. This is looking really rough. Yeah,
double eBay's coming down. He needs some more barracks, but either way, I mean, he's economically healthy. He's got map control. He's got plenty of scouting. He's seeing everything that's going on.
Okay, now that is interesting from Genesis, because we actually see the Spire being thrown down. We don't have a second gas yet, though, either. But, like, Spire's an interesting choice, I think, to try to find a way back in, or to hold whatever Terran decides to throw. So
yeah, it is interesting that he's deciding to do that now. You know, I would have liked to see him play a more standard game this round, and maybe go into that Spire build with a healthier economy. He did get up to 32 drones, and again, I mean, if Launch does not attack and decides to sit and wait for, you know, as long as he did that first game, there is potential for a comeback. That being said, I mean, it's really difficult to go into Spire and go into Muta when science vessels are already out. It makes them so inefficient and so susceptible to just losing all of your mutas. So
oh, there goes Launch moving out with his bio ball, and he also has a dropship with it, so it looks like it's going to be a 2-prong attack, and I'm not sure that we have anything to be prepared for this as Zerg. So
yeah, I think you're right. I think this, you know, Launch has shown he really likes these 2-pronged attacks. Unfortunately for martingb, there's just nothing in the main to defend this drop.
He does have the Hydralisk to ward off the dropship for now. Luckily, the dropship doesn't die, but
timely good block. Like,
yeah, those 3 Hydras just barely came out of those eggs at the perfect time to block that dropship. And there's a couple mutas being produced now. Now you can attack into this Sunken with just Marine Medic without upgrades, really, but
yeah, well, he has 1 year more bio back at home if he can just bring it along. He's also getting siege mode and tank, so
the tank
Terran has, yeah, I mean, Zerg has a small window left to try to find a way to like keep Terran from like just snapping their neck. So
yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Again, he's only on 1 starport. He's got plenty of gas for a second starport. He's going into siege tanks.
I feel like Launch doesn't really know the value that his units have in punishing Zerg. because he's leaving in these games long windows where he's just leaving the Zerg unpunished after some serious, you know, misplay from the Zerg, like all those link wins, and then we just sort of ran around for a third base. We could have just went straight for the main.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a difficult thing to know for some people, absolutely. Right? I mean, especially, you got to remember, he did play an hour-long game before this where he thought he was winning the whole game.
If they went from an hour-long game into like these next 2 games, these guys are legends.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, you got to always remember the mental aspect of some of that as well. Now, losing these 2 vessels... Oh, does he lose them? He saves them. Wow.
Are you serious?
That's a miracle right there. That vessel is cosplaying as a defiler, I'm pretty sure, with how long it stayed alive.
Yeah, man, that +1 armor, its base armor doing some work for once.
Yeah, absolutely. But the drop does get, you know, unloaded in the main. There's really nothing except for a couple Hydras to defend this. If he just focuses drones, it'll be a lot more valuable than trying to fight the Hydras here. He gets a couple of drones, he gets a couple of Hydras.
Oh, this Marine.
That one Marine is a hero. He's gonna kill that Hydra and then kill all the drones.
He is immortal, as long as that medic stays alive.
7 kills, 8 kills, 9 kills. What a monster of a Marine, huh?
That is a private no longer, Eric.
Indeed, he needs to be promoted, but if he doesn't live long enough to be promoted.
No, he abandoned his medic, unfortunately. She forgot about him, so... but a really strong position for launch again. I mean, one of the things about this map, and this is, you know, something that I did in one of my games on this map, was, you know, in a similar position, the eraser at this natural, a lot like mutas, it can just be a really difficult thing to deal with. He is trying to run mutas into the main, but there are already so many turrets over here. Just not going to get anything done.
Protoss setup in a TVZ.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is.
Except the spotter mines are depots, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunate that these, like, at least 800 resources went into these mutas. They weren't able to really do too much. I mean, other than, like, potentially ward off drops now. They didn't seem like the greatest investment.
Yeah, absolutely.
To the game, I think it's fine just that we just do drops, because it means you're not investing nearly as much like lurkers everywhere, which should be a lot, like way more money.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too about it is, I mean, you can tell that it had some impact on the Terran because he built, you know, 20 turrets in his main.
Actually, yeah, that's a pretty good point. If you build like that many turrets to ward off 4 units, so... Yeah,
I mean, they were cost effective in their own way.
And also none in the natural, apparently.
Yeah, I saw that as well. There's no turrets in the natural. But at this point, I mean, he's getting siege down. There's no way to deal with these siege tanks. I think our Zerg hero is going to have to tap out fairly soon as these siege tanks are starting to hit that hatchery.
I don't think they're going to be able to buy enough time to get this Ultralisk Cavern to finish, and then even get Ultralisk out on time, because knocking on their door.
Well, not only that, I mean, there's just not enough gas on 2 bases to build Ultras with upgrades.
Yeah, he'll only get 2 Ultras out, and that's it. And like, I think the siege tanks alone could probably kill the Ultras.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, at this point, it's just up to launch to go. You know, he just needs to get into the Zerg space. He does have a tendency to sit for a long period of time.
That's going to snipe the Ultralisk den, maybe?
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, it's... You know, I think Zesky, you're a bit right in saying that maybe Launch is not quite sure about the impact of his units at times, because he keeps trying to do these counterattacks when he's in a really advantageous position to just attack into the natural. Either way...
It's difficult.
Oh, go ahead.
It's difficult when you, like, go, you know, so many games in a row where your Marines feel absolutely useless. And then you get into situations like these and you still feel like your Marines are useless. It's very much learning curve in StarCraft.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's the GG from martingb and the GG from Launch, and that will close up the series. I mean, these guys, you know, tremendous series, honestly. That first game was just absolutely unbelievable, and I gotta commend them for that. Let's see here. Launch secured it. I apologize that you're a Zerg in the graphic. I will change that for the future, but a tremendous series. I mean, you know, hour-long game. I think it was 58 minutes, and very back and forth. You know, there were times where I thought that Launch had it in the bag, and martingb was able to just spring back. I keep saying martingb, but it's martingb, huh?
I just call him martingb.
martingb. All right. I keep saying the guy's name wrong. See, this is why we need you to join earlier next time, Fridge, so you can correct me on these things.
I think just going by Genesis is probably similar or simpler.
Yeah, you know, I never know, because people will have a different name on the website or in the Discord to what they use in the game. And I mean, I get it. I mean, everybody pronounces my alias differently too, so you know, it's just one of those things. But I think I'm gonna have to save this last game for another day, though, as it is pretty late for me. But I truly appreciate you two joining me for the cast, and I'll let you guys know when I plan on doing this again, and maybe we can start together a little earlier.
Yeah, I'd be totally down for it.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Well, on that note, I am gonna sign off for now and stop the stream. Actually, I guess I'll raid somebody. Who should I raid? Cliffhanger on Twitch. You're right, Mazer. I apologize. It's just late. I have chores in life to do.
Finishing it sometime.
Yeah, we'll get around to finishing it. Why don't we raid? Looks like, I guess Love Snow is the only one that's really on, huh? We'll raid Love Snow. Unsubbed. Wow. You've never even subbed. Left. Get out of here with that nonsense. Raiding Love Snow. But yeah, I mean, I'll let you guys know when I plan on doing this again, and we can figure out a schedule. Either ways, that's been week 4, tier 1 CPL. Cry Me a Reaver versus Fightin Aiurish, guys. Take care.